Firefighters are on the scene of a massive deck fire in South Fargo. One dumpster fire too many. The latest has investigators on alert. A father and son won't let health issues or bike accidents stop them from reaching their destination. Valley News Live at 5 starts right now. Happening now in South Fargo, firefighters are still on the scene of a house fire. Crews responded to the 3300 block of 17th Avenue South just before 4 after someone reported flames shooting up from the roof. 17th Avenue South is currently closed and traffic in that area is being rerouted. You are asked to stay away while crews work to get that fire out. There's no word yet on how it started, but no one was injured. There's been another dumpster fire, the latest overnight, and Fargo investigators say there are indications that it was intentionally set. Valley News Team's JC Dodd looks into whether all of the recent fires are connected.
There's 4 different locations, all in a week's time.
A lot of times in the summer, that's when we'll see kind of more dumpster fires, either accidental or intentionally set.
Investigators say the 5 dumpster fires on June 8th are suspicious due to the number in close proximity to each other. And now authorities are looking closely to see if Sunday night's dumpster fire at Frying Pan Restaurant that cost an estimated $5,000 in damages could be connected.
Following a process on collecting data and then processing that, and the scene exam is just one portion of that. So you have to take witness statements, collect video footage, determine what the fire patterns are saying.
Fargo Fire Marshal Ryan Erickson says once they begin to suspect arson, they call in Fargo PD.
So at any point when we get to a point where we feel that it's criminal, then we work with Fargo Police Department so that they can process the criminal investigation side of it.
The agencies then collect samples and video evidence where it could take up to 6 weeks to get results back.
Obviously, a string of dumpster fires is still concerning, but it's somewhat consistent, and we'll have to just work through these investigations to determine, what exactly is going on.
Fargo Fire says Sunday's dumpster fire is the 16th intentionally set fire this year, including the Fargo Strip Mall fire in May that destroyed several businesses. Erickson compares this year's numbers to last year's totals.
Last year we had 37, so we're kind of on the same pace as what we had seen. Last year was an uptick from previous years before that.
In Fargo, JC Dodd, Valley News Live.
There are no suspects in any of the dumpster fires. An early morning crash in Fargo caused significant damage to the car and a tree, but never hit the nearby church. Witnesses told police that a man pointed a gun at the car, causing the driver to speed away and lose control. It happened just before 2 in the morning in the 1300 block of University Drive South next to Olivet Lutheran Church. No one was hurt in the crash. A report has been filed for terrorizing and will be forwarded to the state's attorney's office. Fargo police have identified a person of interest in the vandalism at St. Mary's Cathedral back in April. Police say they haven't released the name of the suspect yet because they haven't been arrested. The case has been forwarded on to the city attorney's office for consideration of charges. How about that quiet weather? After so many days last week of having to watch for storms, Hutch is grateful for some downtime. He's here now with a look at this evening. Hutch?
Indeed, and take a look at that camera shot. There's some green grass in the FM area after a couple of rounds of rain, delivering about 2 inches last week of rain in a couple different events. We have temperatures ranging from the 70s near Lake of the Woods to near the mid-90s in Mobridge this hour, where it remains sizzling in the central Dakotas. Here in the central Red River Valley, we're right in the middle, and that's where we'll be all the way through the 8 o'clock hour. Then we succumb to the 70s and eventually comfortable 60s. That northeast wind, by the way, ushering in some much drier air. So it's a dry heat as we head into the evening in Grand Forks, 50s by bedtime. Hey, we do have a chance of a little bit of everything in the planning forecast, including warm weather, some more rain in the forecast, and cooler weather as well. I'll spell it all out in just a few more moments, Andrea.
Hey, thank you, Hutch. Firefighters spent several hours battling a house fire in PUPOSKY, Minnesota this morning. Take a look at this. The home in PUPOSKY was fully engulfed in flames by the time crews responded. It took the 20 firefighters 3 hours to tamp down the flames. The Bemidji Fire Department says someone living there was injured while trying to get out of the house, but they are expected to be okay. There's no word yet on what caused the fire, but the home is believed to be a total loss. One person is dead after a car crashed into a group of protesters in Minneapolis overnight. Police say officers were monitoring a protest in Uptown late last night when they saw a car head straight into the crowd. Two protesters were taken to an area hospital. One of them later died from her injuries. Police say two other people showed up at the hospital later to be treated for injuries. Authorities say protesters pulled the driver out of the car and began to hit him. He was arrested and then taken to a hospital for treatment. There are indications from officials that drugs or alcohol might be factors in the crash. No word yet on what charges the suspect will face. The president is in Brussels, Belgium today for the NATO summit. The president told NATO leaders that the U.S. is back in the business of leading the world. President Biden standing shoulder to shoulder with NATO leaders called a strong alliance essential for America. The 30 NATO leaders are tackling an ambitious agenda, which includes the security implications of climate change, cyber attacks and disinformation, terrorism, nuclear deterrence, the rise of China, and Russia's aggressive actions, especially against Ukraine.
And I constantly remind Americans that when America was attacked for the first time in its shores since what happened back in the beginning of World War II, NATO stepped up. NATO stepped up and they honored Article 5. And I just want all of Europe to know that the United States is there.
President Biden will have a chance to discuss differences face-to-face with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday when the two leaders hold a summit in Switzerland. Another COVID-19 vaccine could be headed to market. Biotech company Novavax is expected to ask for permission to distribute its shots soon. Meanwhile, the Biden administration is in its final sprint toward the president's Independence Day vaccination goal, as the country also inches closer to a new grim milestone of 600,000 COVID-related deaths. Skylar Henry.
Novavax is joining the fight against COVID-19. The Maryland-based biotech company says its two-dose vaccine is about 90% effective and is safe after being tested in nearly 30,000 trial participants. Last year, we spoke with the company's head of research and development.
This is really a complex process. It has a lot of burden to prove that it's safe and can work.
Novavax plans to seek authorization to give out its vaccine by the end of September, with a focus on distribution in low to middle income countries. It comes as scientists are sounding the alarms on the Delta variant of the virus, first discovered in India. Over the past 3 weeks, China has been racing to stop the spread of the highly contagious variant, and the former FDA commissioner tells CBS News it could become the dominant strain here in the U.S.
This could spike a new epidemic heading into the fall.
So far, more than 64% of Americans have received at least one dose of the coronavirus vaccine. Administration officials are stepping up their efforts to get even more people to roll up their sleeves, just 3 weeks shy of President Biden's July 4th goal of 70%. Vice President Harris visited a vaccination site in South Carolina, the first stop in a nationwide push.
If you are vaccinated, you are protected.
Meanwhile, the first federal court ruling regarding vaccine mandates came down in Texas. A federal judge dismissed the lawsuit filed by Houston Methodist Hospital employees over its COVID vaccine requirement. The plaintiffs say they'll appeal.
The TSA is reporting new pandemic travel records this past weekend, with more than 2 million passengers screened both Friday and Sunday. Some Fargo residents gathered outside City Hall this afternoon to celebrate both Flag Day and the upcoming hate crime ordinance vote. Members of Bridge the Gap and One Fargo displayed flags to show the diversity of the city ahead of the vote. The City Commission will be deciding whether or not to allow certain offenses to be designated as hate crimes. That includes criminal mischief, harassment, and simple assault. We'll have the results of the vote tonight on Valley News Live at 9 and 10. Fans of local art and food, this one's for you. The West Fargo Street Fair takes place this coming weekend, and this year it will take place on Blue Stem Drive behind the Veterans Mall. The Street Fair is a community event designed to celebrate the best of local artisans, crafters, vendors, food trucks, and services by lining the streets for the community to shop. Shuttles will run between 3 parking locations and the fair site. The event runs Saturday from 10 in the morning until 6 at night. You can find more information on the City of West Fargo website. A father-son duo back on the road today after getting banged up in a bike accident over the weekend. James Culver and his son Shepard are biking from their home in Washington all the way to New York's Hudson Bay to see the Statue of Liberty. They first attempted the ride back in 2019, but only got as far as eastern Montana. The pair found out Shepard had type 1 diabetes and had to head back home. They set back out on the trail about a month ago, but were faced with another setback. James flipped his bike a few days ago near Fargo and it was left badly damaged. But Shepard says he and his dad are still having fun despite the obstacles.
It feels it's awesome, really. Very fun, beautiful views, and what's best about it is you get to make a lot of friends, meet new people, and see new places.
They hope to arrive in New York sometime in August, just in time for Shepard's 9th birthday. Once completed, Shepard will become the first, the youngest diabetic to ride across the United States, as well as the youngest cyclist to complete the Northern Tier bicycle route. Tick season, it's underway. Coming up, what experts are saying we should expect this year.
And the beautiful view of the flag on Flag Day from our home economy location there in Grand Forks. Gorgeous temperatures today. How long will it last? There are changes, and I'll have details on just that coming up. Join me. Weather is next.